welcome back to Regular Guy's Workshop. This video, we're going to see what we can do about this. This I found at a yard sale for $10. It's a Pentium 2 Windows NT and 98 machine. Thing's got to be 26, 27 years old. Let's see if it still works. And if it does, I've got a load of old games that I still have that I would love to play again. So I'm going to try and resurrect this thing. I don't even know if it starts up. So, we'll give it a shot. It has a CD-ROM drive, which the front cover is missing, which is okay. It'll still run without that, and I'm sure I can find a replacement. It has a zip drive. Do you remember those? And an A drive. Power and reset button. It's a Dell Dimension V350. Now, evidently, somebody was working on it. There's a service log thing on there and a little slip of paper from 2004. Let's see what it says. I haven't even looked at it. Okay, let's read this. 9304. SRT display to 32 million colors was 256, low and 128, now is 192, whatever that is. Megabyte, I don't know. So, I hope this thing boots up. It'd be really cool to play my old games. So let's take a look at the back here. Okay, that's two fans, which is kind of impressive. Well, one's the power supply and one's an exhaust fan. Good old PS2 keyboard and mouse. I remember when you install Windows 98, you can't run off a USB. You have to have a PS2 mouse and keyboard to do the installation. I think I still have the original PS2 to USB adapters for when it started using USB. It does have USB drive. It's USB 1. So I may be able to get lucky and just plug a USB keyboard and mouse into here just to see if it boots up. Old printer interface, serial drive. There's your display and your sound and mic and stuff like that. It does have Ethernet connections and a modem. So let's tear this baby apart and see what we get.
Oh, Gary. Hey, Mini Oz, how you doing? Oh, not too bad. Why you want to waste your time with an old piece of shit like that? Well, Oz, I got a lot of old games, and I think it'd be fun to play them. Oh, that's smashing. Thanks.
We gotta take this off of here. Give me a second. I want to make sure the camera's catching all this and I have it in the right place. Okay. So now it's a matter of, there's two locks on here, and you got to shimmy these off, which is a real pain in the ass to try and pull. So this is what I do when I run into this. I've seen these before. So a little lip up there, give it a little jab here, hold up on that, give a little jab here, presto. Opens right up. Put that to the side. Let's take a look inside this thing. Wow, this is like a time machine. Lots of little fuzzy doodads inside too. So there's a CD-ROM drive, zip drive, A drive, and a hard drive. I can't really see how big it is right now. Let me get a flashlight in there. Take a look. Well, let's see what we got. I think the first thing we want to do is get that out of there. The CMOS battery, I guarantee you that's shot. So first thing I want to do is replace the CMOS battery. I know I should do all the cleanup first before I even put any power to this thing. But you know what? I'm not going to put any effort in if it's no good. So pop out the old CMOS battery, chuck that in the battery bin. I got some new ones. Pop one of these out. Now, it's been my experience that when you replace a CMOS battery on these old computers, they won't boot up right away. It takes quite a few tries to get them to boot up. I don't know why. You know, I'm sure there's a logical explanation for it, but I'm not going to go investigate all that right now. So I'm just going to get this battery out of here. It's fighting me. Okay, we got the new CMOS battery. I'm going to stick that in there. Hope you can all see that. And well, there's juice going to it, probably the first time in 20 years. So now I'm going to hook up all the peripherals to it and just see what happens. Be right back. And oh yeah, we got a screen. This is good. I hope we get more than just a screen. You can hear the hard drive spinning up. Okay, and that is normal when you have a CMOS battery go bad on you. Press escape, I'll worry about the time later. Escape to resume. Oh, but we got it. Windows 98. Oh, this is looking good. Yes, sirree. Do we have a mouse though? If the mouse works. I got a USB mouse. I don't have a PS2 mouse. What do you have heard to avoid shut down your computer by selecting shut down, start in. Scan disk now is checking to see for errors. I'm going to let that complete. Okay, made it through. Let's see if we can get in. I don't know if there's a password on here. If there is, well, I'll just have to reinstall Windows 98 on here. Oh, there we go. I don't know this person. Sorry if your image is on here. And it is what I thought. Yeah, I have to attach PS2 mouse. So let me see if I can find those adapters, folks. I'll be right back. Well, folks, I looked, and unfortunately, in my bag of goodies of vintage stuff, I did not keep the adapters, the USB to PS2 adapters. I'm going to have to see if I can get a hold of a PS2 mouse and keyboard. Well, since I don't have a PS2 mouse or keyboard, I'm going to have to find one. I could probably pick up something cheap off of eBay, or maybe even there's something newer that's equivalent, but we don't know. But that doesn't mean I have to stop working on this. I can do all the cleanup on this now, which is what I'm going to do, and get it ready so when I finally do get the mouse and keyboard, I can start playing with it. You know, maybe reinstall Windows on it and get the games running. So first thing we want to do is just start disassembling. And let's take off the front cover here. See what we got here. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty cruddy, pretty yellow. I've been toying with the idea of retrobrighting it, which is nothing more than hydrogen peroxide. Don't waste your money on retrobrite. Just go to the drugstore and get peroxide for hair. It's the exact same thing. Cover it up, leave it out in the sun, and if you don't have sunny days, as I don't right now because it's springtime and it's raining all the time, you can always use a black light. Just hit it under a black light for a day, and that'll bring it back. Everything really much looks intact. I think what I want to do right now is take it over to my air compressor and just blow it out and see what comes of that. There it is. 8 GB drive. And I love how these old drives, they'll give you number of cylinders, number of heads, number of sectors. But you got to figure it out, do all the math to figure out how big the drive is. Why can't they just write on here? Say, hey, this is an 8 gig drive. Of course, later on they did, but back then they didn't do that. So, yep, that's it. Let me give you a little hint. Never throw your old socks away because they make excellent cleaning rags.
Oh, who wants to see your smelly old socks? They probably got toe jam on them. Odds, I'm using them for cleaning. I don't think it really matters. Yeah, whatever.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the insert of this. Now you got to be watching because these things are always have sharp edges. It's sheet metal. They didn't intend for you and me to be in here playing around. So they didn't really try to keep everything clean or unsharpened. All right, we got to clean this CPU. So I want to use a brush. No! And not break it like that. Okay, you want to be careful and not drop this like I just did because it bends these up. And these fans are very, very thin aluminum. They're for heat dissipation. I was able to bend them back within reason. It's good enough. But yeah, you just want to be very careful with that. All right, the motherboard. Let me do a little cleanup here. That's filthy. You see the dirt that I've been taking out of this thing. And motherboard, I just temporarily unplug that. It's really not that dirty. And I'm thinking just a brushing is just gonna, that's all it's gonna need. Well, there it is. Fully disassembled computer, cleaned and ready for reassembly. So let's get to it, okay?
Now, before I get started putting it back together, the first thing I want to do is I want to clean all these contacts. God knows how long it's been since they've been cleaned or if they've ever been cleaned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a combination of a contact cleaning brush and some deoxit. So I'm going to hit all the electronic components that have connections and clean all the connections. Let's take a look at the CPU. Now it's the same kind of contact, and I think this will get in there if I extend it a little bit. Well, I figured out how to get the heat sink off, but this plate here, there's a CPU inside here. Let me see if you can see on the camera. There's a CPU inside there, and I can see there has some of the silver compound leaking off of it. So it meets up against this, and then the heat transfers from this to the heat sink. There's no silver compound on the heat sink, which tells me the silver compound all goes in here, but I cannot see how to get this back plate off. It looks like it's screwed on. I don't know if these are pins or screws. I believe they're pins because I think this just pops in here somehow. But I don't want to destroy this trying to get it apart just to put new heatsink compound on there. Look at it a little further, see what I can figure out. Okay, I got it. After you get the case off, there's these two clips you got to remove, and it allows you to pull it off. And just as I thought, that's all dried out. That's no good. So I'm going to proceed to clean that off and put some new heatsink compound on there and reassemble these. I got to clean this case up where I buggered it a little bit. But let me do that now. I got all the heatsink compound off. The other advantage of having this thing apart is now I can actually get at these contacts to clean them. So a little dollop. Don't need much. Let me clean this up before I put that back on. Okay. Now I bent these clips in order to get them off. I got to bend them back so they re-engage. So, okay, that's back in. Plenty of silver compound. Let's clean up this case a little bit where I buggered it up. All right, got it all back together. It has new heat sink compound. Contacts are cleaned. Hopefully nothing got damaged along the way. So let's move on to the next thing. Okay, that processor was a real pain in the ass to do. But it had to be done. So now we can start on the assembly. So we start with the motherboard. Now you see how these things are soldered together as to a hook. That's why I thought it was soldered to the board, and I could not believe what I saw. But now this is going to be the first thing to go in, and I have to line these hooks up. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a bumper. I have a hook on this side. As far as getting them lined up first. There we go. There. Okay. Okay, one final thing. I got it all back together, and remember this? Service log. I'm going to put this inside just to keep the history of it. I'm going to put an entry in there for what I just did. I think it's pretty cool. Somewhere down the road, somebody else gets his computer, they'll open it up and say, hey, look at that. So, 3. Okay. Right there. You see it. So now that's going inside. And hopefully someday somebody else will be reading this. There we go. It's still sticky, so it should stay right where it's supposed to go. Now I may throw a piece of tape on it
just in case. On each end. There's one. There's another. There we go. And there we have it. The machine's back together, cleaned up. Looking almost new. I just wish I had the faceplate for that. But again, I'm not really worried about it. It's a little nicked up. I may paint that someday. Very clean looking. Everything is back together. Now you remember I had a problem because I didn't have a PS2 mouse and a PS2 keyboard. I used to have the adapters so you can hook a USB into it, but I can't find those either. So I ordered them off of Amazon. It was $5 for 2 sets of them. You can't beat that. And that's going to be coming tomorrow. So after I get it tomorrow, I'm going to power this thing up with the new keyboards and see what I can get. I'll see you then. Okay, everyone, as you see, it's all back together, nice and clean looking. I'm in there. Keyboard and mouse work. Everything's working great. And you know what? This brings back so many memories of how much of a pain in the ass these systems were to set up and get working. It's been 2 weeks since my last video, and then since I got everything cleaned and put it back together, I've had nothing but problems. Sometimes it wanted to boot, sometimes it didn't want to boot. The CD-ROM, it did not work. I had a lot of problems. I had that apart. I was trying to fix that. I couldn't get it fixed. And then today I went down to the local recycling center to drop off some old broken equipment. And sitting there was another old desktop. And it had a CD player. So I'm like, okay, you know, let me just grab the CD player out of that, brought it home, cleaned it up. It works when it wants to. Sometimes it doesn't want to open up. Let's see if I can get it to open up now. And it's being temperamental again. One more time, I'll give it a try. And, oh well. I've got it to work by tapping on it a few times. It's going to get me by. I went on Amazon, I actually found an IDE drive, CD-ROM drive, for 15 bucks. So this system cost me 10 bucks at the estate sale. Cleaned it up. It's 10 bucks for that. It was 15 bucks for the keyboard and mouse and $5 for the little PS2 adapters for them. So that's 10, 20, $30. And the new CD-ROM was $15. So $45 I spent on this system, and I'm going to have a working Windows 98 system. You'll notice when I first booted it up, before I cleaned it up and everything else, that a gentleman's picture came up, and I blurred it out of respect. As I said, I bought this in an estate sale, which means, the person in the picture evidently passed on. And out of respect for them, I didn't want to show his picture. Once I got it booted up and in there and looking, I found a lot of family photos. They were in the old Windows image file format, MIX, which you can't even open anymore. And, to me, that's history, that's family history. And it was only right to get all that stuff off of there and throw onto a USB drive and get it back to the family. It's not only right, it's the honorable thing to do and the right thing to do. I would expect somebody to do that for me. So I did that, and I actually met with the realtor who will get the USB drive full of family pictures to the daughter or son or whoever it was that was selling the things. And, it just makes me feel good that I can give them back a piece of their family history. Now I'm going to end this video here. This will be the end of part 1. I got the system cleaned up, working, ready. Part 2, I'm going to reformat that drive, totally clean everything out of there, and I'm going to install Windows 98 2nd edition. And once I get through that, I'm going to start installing the games, and you're going to sit along with me while I go through this and walk down memory lane and get these games working. And I hope to see you there. Remember, like and subscribe. In the bottom, the description will be a link to my brother, Audio Tom's YouTube channel. Please go there, like and subscribe to him. He has a lot of great information there, and we hope to see you then. Thanks a lot.
Hey, you better remember to like and subscribe or I'm going to kick your ass.